Hello, boys and girls. Today, we're going to read a very special story. My parents used to read to me every night before I went to bed. And this is out of the Big Bedtime Storybook by Patsy Scary. And this is one of the short stories from out of her Big Bedtime Storybook. This is Mother's Helper. You won't really see words when we start the story. This is very much a listen to it story as you look at the pictures. But I've got to say this is just one of my favorites. And it's all kinds of stories about a little bunny. What perfect time to listen to stories about a little bunny than Easter. Especially if we're all kind of stuck at home for a little while. So I hope you enjoyed this story as much as I enjoyed these stories growing up. Let's get started. So Mother's Helper. Mother's Helper's the name of this story. Deep in the woods is a very small house. Flowers bloom in the windows, and everyone calls it Little Richard's house because he is the fat little rabbit who lives there. He lives there with his mother and father. One day, Little Richard hurried into the kitchen of that small house. He sniffed and he smiled. Mother Rabbit was beating cookie batter in a bowl. "Oh, Mommy, you're making cookies. I will help you," said Little Richard. "I will put the raisins into the bowl." Because he was such a small rabbit, he had to climb up on a stool to reach the box of raisins. He reached and he wobbled. Oops! He knocked the raisins down. The box bumped on his head and then spilled on the floor. "Oh, I wanted to help," wailed Little Richard. "That's all right. There are some raisins left," said Mother Rabbit, shaking them into the bowl. Little Richard watched his mother roll the cookie dough flat with a rolling pin. "I will help you put the cookies and put them into the pan," said Little Richard. And while Mother Rabbit cut the round cookies with her cutter, Little Richard cut out star-shaped cookies with his cutter. It was fun. But when he tried to put the cookie dough into the pan, it stuck inside the cutter. He shook it, and the dough landed on the floor. He tried cutting another cookie, and it landed on the floor. "Oh, I wanted to help," said Little Richard. "You will help," said Mother Rabbit. She quickly cut the cookies and shook them onto the cooking sheet. Now they were ready to bake. "I will help you put them in the oven," said Little Richard. "Oh no, the oven is too hot," said Mother, and she put them in the oven herself. "In just a few minutes, you can really help," said Mother Rabbit as she swept up the floor. The cookies were browning in the oven. Little Richard sniffed. He smelled the sugar and the raisins and butter and cinnamon. Then he watched his mother take the cookie pan out of the oven. She set it on the table to cool. "Now you can help me, Little Richard," said Mother Rabbit. She put some warm cookies onto a plate and said, "You can taste the cookies for me." And that's what Little Richard did. He tasted one cookie, and it tasted so good that he said, "Yum." Then he reached for another and another. "They taste delicious," said Little Richard. "You are the best best mother in the world. And you are the best helper in the whole world, said Mother Rabbit with a smile. You are a very, very good cookie taster.